Many thanks go out to Lexus of Royal Oak. They were able to send this car my way for me to review. The Lexus GX is a very interesting proposition from Lexus. This three-row luxury SUV is built on a body-on-frame platform, which means this car is as close to a truck as Lexus will probably ever make. So the question is it any good? Well, that answer is coming up here on the Drive Guide. So this GX comes with a 4.6-litre V8 that produces 309 horsepower and 329 pound-feet of torque. And when I first read those numbers, I was a little surprised to see that it comes with that little of horsepower. This car is 5,200 pounds, and I originally thought that engine wouldn't be able to produce enough power for it to get out of its own way. But then as soon as I got on the highway, I retracted that belief altogether. This car is able to pull you away from any situation with no hesitation. The gears will drop down and the engine will get louder. But you never really have that sensation of picking up speed. You'll be doing highway speed and then you need to overtake someone, so you then mat the throttle. And before you know it, you're breaking the speed limit by quite a sizable number. It has a very similar design, capability, and driving dynamics as a truck. With the design, it is very tall and it is very big. On the inside, you have tons of space. You have a huge greenhouse so you can see everything outside. As we do ride so high, the car is a really smooth ride. And that is also aided by the 18-inch rims that we have with a 60mm sidewall. You can actually change the suspension from comfort to normal to sport. Why you would have it in anything else than comfort, I have no idea. When it comes to the capability of this car, you do have quite a few things to play around with if you were going to go off-road. Here you see you can control your cruise speed, your high and low four-wheel drive, and then you can also change the ride height with this car. Along with some of the other off-roading capabilities, you can tow up to 6,500 pounds, so that's certainly attractive to some buyers. When it comes to the interior of this car, you have tons of space, like I said. The seats, well, they're not really seats, they're more like thrones. They support you nicely. There really isn't much bolstering, so you're not held into place. There's plenty of nice leather around here on the seats and down where you rest your elbows. This mahogany wood looks great. You do have some softer touch plastics up here. And then if you go searching for them, there are some harder plastics down here. One of my favorite things about all the Lexus products that I've had so far is that analog clock that's in the center, but that is just not available here. You just have a little digital readout down here where you get all your information for the climate control. That's a bit of a letdown. I do wish that was here. Along with the lines of climate control, you don't have a button to control the fan speed. You only have this auto setting. Other things that are let down, the screens aren't exactly groundbreaking in terms of resolution. The one that's in between the analog gauges here looks like it comes from a 90s video game. For a car that is this size, I'm just taken back of how quiet it is on the highway. The windscreen is quite upright and this car is physically huge. It's the size of an oil tanker. I simply cannot believe it's this quiet. The door mirrors are massive. They're like the size of basketballs, but you're not really getting that much wind noise off of them either. This is easily the most impressive thing about this car, is just how refined and isolated it is at this speed. As we have the executive package, we get a power cooling box down here in the center console. We have the rear seat entertainment behind these headrests here. And then we also get a few other upgrades for off-roading, like the multi-terrain select and then some additional underbody protection. But that really clears up everything I want to talk about here on the highway. Overall, I'm blown away of just how refined this car is. I really wasn't expecting it to be this good. So let's go into town now to see what this car is like when you want to live with it on a day-to-day basis. So for any of you that are wondering why I'm not going to be taking this car into the twisties, come on, it's a 5,200 pound body on frame SUV. It's not built to tear around corners. But what I can tell you is that if you do throw it in to some corners whilst going hard, the car is very wallowy, feels like it's going to flip over, and as a result of that, it's slightly frightening. And yes, this car is massive. I do at times feel like I'm going to knock over a tower block if I get a little too close to the sidewalk. But the vehicle is manageable. And what I mean by that is that the steering is light enough, not so artificial that it just feels like you have no connection to the front wheels, but you have a rough idea of where they are, even though they don't deliver a lot of feedback. When I first got in this car, the first thought that went through my mind is that this is going to be a difficult car to park, but it really isn't. The 360-degree cameras are great at helping you out for when you need to line up into a stall. Those cameras really aren't the greatest. They're very low res. They really don't match up with the rest of the technology and the Lexus lineup. But with this V8 here, it is naturally aspirated, and one thing that I really like about that is that I feel as though if this car had a turbocharger, you would be managing the throttle pedal a lot more to try and get off the line, and that would just consume a lot of your energy. So because of that, the power is always linear. You have great control over the pedal. When it comes to practicality with this car, the second row of seats are fantastic for someone like me, and then your own climate control back there, and then the inputs for all of the TV stuff. And then when it comes to the third row, really, if you're anything like the height of me, you're not going to want anything to do with it back there. They do fold down electrically, which is nice, but when the third row seats are up, there's little to no room to put stuff in the back. You could probably fit a loaf of bread and that be it. The third row seating isn't as well trimmed as everywhere else. The materials covering sort of the wheel arch is all this hard plastic, so that's not great, but really, if you're throwing anyone in those back seats, it's for kids for a very short trip. In a marketplace where so many SUVs are prioritizing form over function, it is refreshing to get behind the wheel of this GX. Although I didn't really have the environment to really throw this car off-road to see what it was capable of doing, to know that that is its foundation is what makes this car so interesting. This car is practically a tank without the treads, and that's why I love this thing. Although it does have the intention of being an off-roader, it was perfectly capable on the road. There was no indication that it was uncomfortable in that environment. So this is why, if you're looking for a big three-row SUV, you really need to consider one of these. Many thanks go out to Lexus of Royal Oak. They were able to send this car my way to review. So that's everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. I hope you can like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you again on The Drive Guide.